The bite looks survivable. 10 seconds later, the wound is still leaking. A few minutes after that, clotting efficiency is compromised and blood pressure starts to slide. The mechanical damage came first, then the chemical failure took over. That is the Komodo dragon system. These predators do not win by looking dangerous. They win by shutting down the exact process your body would use to stay alive. 5 animals, 5 engineering problems. 1 prevents blood from sealing. 1 uses rotation to disassemble. 1 closes its mouth once and the math is already done. 1 targets a 2-inch vertebral gap where your entire nervous system bottlenecks. And 1, the last one, defeats you before you even know it is there. We have the case files. The pattern is not aggression, it is efficiency. The teeth curve backward with a saw-like serrated edge. When the Komodo bites and pulls, it does not puncture, it rips. Long, irregular, jagged tears that expose maximum wound surface in a single drag. That is the entry system. Venom glands in the lower jaw deliver toxins into those open channels. Brian Fry's team at Melbourne confirmed the mechanism in 2009. Compounds that block clot formation and push blood pressure toward collapse. The wound stays open, the seal never forms, and circulation works against the host. A bitten buffalo can still stand, still walk. It stays mobile for hours, sometimes days, while the venom disables every repair mechanism the body attempts. Then the decline steepens, and the Komodo follows. Lethality rate stamp, delayed onset, steep drop once blood loss takes hold. It disables repair and lets circulation finish the job. But chemical sabotage requires time. The next animal does not wait. The saltwater crocodile begins with concealment and ends with physics. Ambush, clamp, water entry, rotation. Once the victim loses stable ground, the mechanical advantage shifts completely. Bite force exceeds 3,700 pounds per square inch. That is the capture metric. The kill metric is rotation. The animal locks the bite and spins. Centripetal torque rips across joints, soft tissue, spine. Your skeleton loads in directions it was never built to tolerate. Everything twists, nothing holds. At 3,700 psi, the clamp is binary, open or failed. The airway goes under. Trauma and drowning stack with almost no pause. 1 second the victim is upright, the next rolling water, no ability to orient, breathe, or pull free. Lethality rate, once the clamp sets and submersion begins, survivability drops fast. The Komodo disables repair, the crocodile removes orientation, leverage, and airflow simultaneously. Now, the next animal does not need rotation. It closes its jaws once, and the geometry of the human body does the rest. The hippopotamus is filed under herbivore, technically correct, mechanically meaningless. A hippo accelerates fast over short distance, especially in shallow water where footing is already poor. The gape approaches 180 degrees, then the jaws close like opposing hydraulic blades at roughly 2,000 psi. The geometry matters more than the number. Crushing and shearing happen together. Ribs fail, soft tissue tears, organs rupture. If the victim is caught sideways, the jaws act less like a bite and more like industrial cutters. That is the theory. Here's what it looks like when the geometry meets a human body. On the Zambezi near Victoria Falls, Paul Templer experienced this firsthand. A 2-ton bull hippo breached beneath his canoe. No warning display, it moved straight to cranial envelopment, head and upper body into its mouth. Roughly 2,000 psi collapsed his ribcage and punctured both lungs on contact. Templer described the inside of the mouth as smelling like rotten eggs, sulfur from digested grass, and the sound of his own ribs breaking, snapping celery underwater. Then the hippo transitioned. It stopped biting and started submerging, dragging Templer to the river floor, pinning him against the silt. The shift from mechanical pressure to environmental drowning. near zero survival rate. Templar survived. His left arm did not, detached at the shoulder by the jaw's torque. He went back to guiding on the Zambezi. This is structural delamination, turning a three-dimensional threat into a two-dimensional one. Lethality rate stamp, extremely high once the intercept window opens. The crocodile twists the frame apart. The hippo closes it until tissue and bone fail. Every one of these systems exploits a specific failure point in the human body. That's what this channel documents, the mechanical logic behind predators, survival, and biological threat systems. Sourced, cited, stripped of filler. Subscribe button is below. The next case file is already in production. A 2010 forensic pathology report documented exactly how fast this kill happens. 2 seconds, that's all. The leopard delivered 2 precision bites to the nape of the neck, upper canine spaced at roughly 6.8 centimeters, just wide enough to straddle the C4 and C5 vertebrae. That spacing is not accidental, it's targeting. Then the distension snap, a sharp backward jerk of the head that turns the skull into a mechanical lever. The spinal cord disarticulates, the vertebral arteries tear. Both happen in the same motion. The victim did not die of blood loss. The brain signals to the heart and lungs were severed before bleeding mattered. Forensic reports described the canine marks as circular puncture depressions, not crushing, popping. Atlas and axis vertebrae separating, a single sharp crack. This is a neural switch override. The leopard does not fight the body's muscles, it disables the motor cortex controlling them. Teeth lock into bone, the lateral jerk fires, and the body transitions from combative to dead weight. Village edge attacks repeat the same sequence. No warning, no sound. Impact from concealment, then a body dragged into brush. Lethality rate stamp, high, because precision compensates for smaller mass. The hippo destroys structure through force. The leopard bypasses structure and interrupts control. But every one of these systems requires one thing: contact. The last predator solves that problem by making sure you never see it coming, and it may have been tracking you for hours before you read this sentence. You are standing on open ice. You have binoculars. Visibility stretches a half-mile in every direction. You're already being hunted. The polar bear uses the landscape as part of the weapon. Open ice strips you of contrast, cover, and distance judgment. Its fur drops thermal signature to near background levels. At range, the bear registers as weather, glare, a shifting piece of terrain. Polar bears detect prey scent across vast distances, then wait near breathing holes, seal roots, or open margins. The bear is a metabolic timer, tracking your heat and scent long before you scanned the horizon. In 2013, a researcher on Svalbard documented a polar bear that circled her camp downwind for 11 hours before anyone noticed. 3 passes. When it closed distance, it covered the last 40 meters in under 4 seconds, hours of patience collapsing into heartbeats. Once contact range closes, the bear combines mass, sprint speed, and forelimb force in a space with no escape structure, no tree line, no door. Lethality rate stamp, high in open terrain because the first system to collapse is early warning. The leopard interrupts control after contact. The polar bear defeats detection before contact begins. 5 animals, 5 solutions to the same engineering problem. Chemical collapse, rotational disassembly, hydraulic shearing, neural switch override, sensory bypass. But here's the thread connecting all 5, and it's not force. Every system on this list targets the body's DEST countermeasure. The Komodo defeats clotting. The crocodile defeats orientation. The hippo defeats structural integrity. The leopard defeats coordination. The polar bear defeats the one advantage that gives humans time, the ability to see a threat coming. The lethality rate does not measure how dangerous the animal is. It measures how many exit routes the body still has after the system engages. In these 5 cases, almost none.